Warm Earth Lab, or WELL for short, tests and develops alternative on-site methods of warm data collection. WELL calls for an ethical reorganization of human-non-human relationships and the introduction of a deeply embedded civic custodianship. Warm data highlights non-productive qualities that cannot be codified or economically assessed through traditional metric land surveying. As a source, warm data should not replace metric data, but should be read in conjunction with it. WELL has been directly interacting with a shifting landscape on the southern bank of the River Thames, the Thamesmead Waterfront Master Plan.
The relationship between land and development has never been straightforward and continues to shift and change with demand and supply. The draft New London Plan anticipates a new wave of growth, with the capital's population expected to increase from 8.9 to 10.8 million by 2041. Whilst WELL acknowledges there is a real need for affordable housing in the city and fostering communities, we believe there must also be accountability for the destruction of diverse ecologies. WELL are concerned with how it may be possible to restructure hierarchies, decenter the human, and reprioritise urban ecosystems within the context of development.
Thamesmead Waterfront, in the Royal Borough of Greenwich, is a 100-hectare plot within the wider Thamesmead Master Plan, engulfing the current town centre, ancient marshland, contaminated waste landfills, and a number of locally listed structures. The earmarked site is ecologically, politically, and socially charged. The master plan is a joint venture between the Housing Association Peabody, the developers Lendlease, and the soon-to-be selected design team. As one of the few remaining undeveloped river sites in London, and with the scale and capacity of a new town, this landscape exists on the brink of change. We envisage that WELL's methodology of translating a landscape can become an integral tool to inform future land developments, such as this site we have encountered. This information can be used to provoke a practice of environmental sensitivity in the proposed master plan, and elevate sites as active agents in their own future.
Environmental personhood is an existing legal concept that grants certain environmental entities the status of a legal person. Currently, there are no set guidelines, but WELL propose a set of criteria that could become a framework to obtain this status. Awarding basic rights to the non-human bodies of Thamesmead, such as existence, regeneration and restoration, would provide them with a right to seek legal redress for the damages and violations inflicted by humans. With this logic, environmental personhood becomes a question of responsibility, liability, and accountability for unsustainable behaviours.
The following film is an enactment of environmental personhood on behalf of Thamesmead's contaminated land through a guided encounter with the contaminant. Our didactic is based on the criteria for such personhood and presented in a step-by-step guide. Criteria 1. History of environmental violence.
Push your weight against the land and feel the land push back against your palm.
Criteria 2. Ecological contribution.
Investigate the ground. Familiarize yourself with the textures. Climb a tree to measure its height with your body. Regain the soil. Measure this distance around the tree trunk. Draw a line in the ground.
Criteria 3. Symbiotic relationships.
Return to the ground. Vibrate. Disconnect. Resist. Pulsate.
Criteria 4. Non-extractive processes.
Infiltrate the landscape. Maintain stillness for 30 years. Deplete.
Criteria 5. Linguistics.
You bounce. Make an imprint on the land. Bounce. Heavier. 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 Approach. Comfort. Multiply. Seek. Approach. Comfort. Multiply. Seek. Your body merges with the earth.
Criteria 6. Declarations.
Awarding legal rights to non-human bodies subverts the status quo for armed development, both elevating their position to stakeholders and holding any polluting organizations to account for environmental damage. As a result, it becomes in their interest to operate in a responsible and sustainable way. As a product of this research well, propose an on-site research center in Thamesmead to accommodate alternative knowledge collection and exchange. This open and ongoing conversation will be held in parallel with the development of the master plan to inform both the delivery team and the wider human and non-human community.
Finally, Well asks you to contemplate this. How might the fabric of the city change if the urban ecosystems were given the rights to exist? How could this incentivize a systematic shift in developments? And what impact can a broader network of custodianship have on the future of our cities?